Yeah, so I wake up this morning and I see a message, and it's Access Rattblood. Are you here, Rattblood?
Access Rattblood. Access Rattblood. Access Rattblood. Access Rattblood.
And then you got people like Access, and then you got people like Access, and then you got people like Access.
I'm Access fucking Rattblood.
Access Rattblood, I see. All these Access people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now. I don't know what to do about
And then you got people like Access, and then you got people like Access, and then you got people like Access.
Are you here, Rattblood?
I'm Access fucking Rattblood.
Access Rattblood.
Most abundant and successful king hero that we are all sitting at this very moment. Are you willing to accept that as a truth? That you are a worthy man and that your penis is okay?
all these Access people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now. All these Access people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now.
Access Rattblood. Access Rattblood. Access Rattblood. Access Rattblood.
Are you here, Rattblood? I'll just start throwing spells at you, conjuring demons and otherwise. Are you here, Rattblood? I'll just start throwing spells at you, conjuring demons and otherwise. Are you here, Rattblood? I'll just start throwing spells at you, conjuring demons and otherwise. Are you here, Rattblood?
Who the fuck is Access Rattblood?
I'm Access fucking Rattblood, bitch.
All these Access people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now. I don't know what to do about it.
I'm Access fucking Rattblood. Can you hear me? Don?
Yes.
Can you? Okay. Now,
Yeah,
I've got some new
unmute.
equipment. I got some new equipment, and I was doing this so that I wanted to
You sound good.
before I did a stream tonight on anything of significance. I wanted to get this kind of off my chest and out of my energy because it's a pretty deep gash, and even though I know some people don't believe so, when you have certain energies projected at you and you put up your defenses, it's all you can do to stay in the state of defense. Well, we lost Dawn. She'll be right back. And Dom, it'll probably be about a 45-minute noise session. So I wanted to make sure that I was mentally in the right place before I gave a gave a live stream that was of value and significance. This is just a lot of noise at the moment. So I just wanted to let you know. Okay. So we got you now, Dawn?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay.
So yeah,
I want
brother.
I want to read you, and that way, um, the woes and loves of a dad and his son. Now, to get a full grasp of this, because he is sitting in jail right now with about 15 days to his trial, and he is obviously not developed or changed one iota. And my mother and him claim that in my earlier workings in life that I caused him to be filled with a demon. And then I was accused because of the way that he was raised that he wound up in jail on murder one charges because of the way I raised him. And they just keep pounding and beating on me. And they do this every time that I try to involve myself with them. So to give you an insight on his state of mind, so I'm not coming at this from just one direction, this is what transpired. This is my son. I love you with all my heart. Don't ever forget that. Unconditional love. That was lesson one. That's what you taught me. I'll never forget that either. I love you, Dad. I hope you're feeling better today. By chance, did your in-home help you to get the necklace that I wanted? I'm 18 days away from my final day on trial. I didn't respond. I was pretty sick at the time. But anyhow, hey, Dad, I'm getting worried about you. You all right? You didn't, or did your in-home help you? Or should I start looking to see if I can find someone else to order the necklace for me? Then he said, well, whenever you're not busy with your live stream, I'm here. It's been 2 days of waiting for a response. I know you're tired. Let me know something at some point before I am unable to do anything. Please, it it may be my only around this, or the only chance I get to put the necklace around me for trial, and it will only it will only bring enjoyment and and happiness. Hope you have a nice live stream. So I texted him back. I said, I don't have in-home on weekends. It was the weekend. I couldn't do anything to order his necklace. I am going to have him do it tomorrow when he gets here. I hope it means that much to you. Joanne telling me what I need. Joanne's my mother. Need to do, and you pushing me about your necklace. I've had the flu. It really bothers me that you would think I would keep your money. I'll make sure I get your necklace to you, and I'm not doing another thing till I get my truck fixed. And he says, why are you coming at me sideways? Dad, I never said you was trying to keep my money, and I don't know what Joanne is even talking about to you, because I said you hadn't responded in a couple of days. Yeah, my bad. Sorry, I wanted to talk to you, and I'm sorry you told me he wasn't, or you didn't tell me he wasn't coming over for a couple of days to order it whenever I mentioned having someone else come and pick up the money to order it. This is all about a necklace. Now remember, it started out with unconditional love. That's what you taught me. Rule number one. So, I'm just being proactive and not pushy because I was asking for an update. My bad. I have so much to look forward to. I can't fix your truck. I'm in jail facing 80 years. Sorry you're sick and you're having a bad day. You found time for the live stream, but can't tell me you're doing what you're doing. Makes me feel just great. And then you're mad at me over what Joanne does. Awesome. Glad I can be here. And I said, need your prisoner ID number to send the necklace to you. My in-home is trying to help me. Well, he waited a day to send it, and then he sent it with this message. So what demon or evil spirit is supposed to be inside of me? Which I didn't know what he was talking about directly there, but I do now. Dad, can you sacrifice what isn't yours? It's your own humanity and your soul that gets you sacrificed to Lilith. May have attached herself to me, but Santa Maria has my soul. I said, you just said it. I still have my soul, and I don't surrender to principalities. I don't serve your God, nor do I care to. And then he comes back with, right, okay, well, I can see where this is going. I don't know what your issue is, but I guess at this point in time, I don't care, so we can end it there. The only thing we're all guaranteed in life is death. That is the one thing no one can escape. You can't sacrifice me for a lifestyle you lived, only your soul and your humanity. Well, I hadn't talked to my mother for a few days. I didn't talk to anybody because I was down sick, and I just absolutely didn't communicate with anybody over the weekends. And I didn't have in-home here, so there was nothing I could do about getting his necklace. But I watched him turn from where he started with unconditional love being rule number one, all the way down to him wanting a necklace so bad that he was going just to be done with me. And then I found out, because I was correct, my mother swears that my earlier lifestyle sent a demon to cause my son to behave the way that he does. And then she said that it was the lifestyle and the way I brought him up that caused him to go to jail. And while he's in there and he's worshiping this Santeria, it's a god of death. It's a lesser god of death. Just a principality, Catholicism, African voodoo, and a little bit of a southwestern flavor to it because it comes out of the slave trade, and the magic is still prevalent in Louisiana. I'm sure everybody knows what Santeria is. So I called my mom and I told her, I said, you'll have to take me to go get his necklace tomorrow. And she went off on me sideways because I didn't move quick enough to get his necklace, because I upset him, and she knows that I had demons involved in the fact that in his upbringing that still present in his life, and he needs to get forgiveness and prayer. And he says, if you hadn't raised him the way you did, he wouldn't be where he's at. Now, mind you, this is not a child. This is a 29-year-old man who is accused of putting 7 rounds, execution style, in the back of an unarmed man who was sitting in a chair and was assassinated so quickly that he was still sitting in a relaxed position with his phone. My son is seen ditching a gun, who he happens to be the only one in the vicinity besides the girl that drove him there, and she got the fuck out of Dodge. He ditches the gun in a garbage can and goes to a salon to hide. Well, an interesting thing is that it was the son of this dad's cop that apprehended my son, which I think is just amazing, and the synchronicity of it. So they charge him with murder one. They found every drug under the sun in his system. Um, the ballistics come out and not in his favor. Um, the forensics, they haven't returned ever given a full accounting on the forensics. I imagine they're holding that for trial. Um, and they had to discard his initial interrogation because he was so incoherent and unintelligible to try and even understand that they couldn't conduct a proper interview. They locked his ass up on murder one charges. So I'm getting ready and relaxing and going to do a live stream on some energy and how to pull your energy back from things and how to apply into the field and utilize that. But I did not want to have a malevolent uh, energy to me whenever I do a live stream that I feel can be useful to other people and may educate or inform them. But I also thought, who better to examine this than all the opinionated people in the metaverse? I mean, shit. They've got an opinion all the way down to the air we breathe, to the shape of the earth, to fantasoids, aliens. Surely to God, somebody can help at least shed light on how I am responsible for a 29-year-old man to wind up in that position, and him being the only suspect that they have that has basically completely failed every avenue of being able to defend himself against the case. What do you think, Don? Can you help me out here?
Wow, I did not understand the full scope of what you were having to digest some months ago when I heard you were in a distressed state. And so I wasn't want to first say, I'm so sorry to hear that this is what's happened with your son and that you feel a burden on your shoulders about this. I have a couple of comments. First, interestingly enough, I recently had some conversations with a counselor, and the very first meeting and the very first thing I asked was, what is unconditional love? And that session, I was able to basically unwrap unconditional love, the idea of it. And at the end, I came to the realization that in the physical world, there is no such thing as unconditional love because everything here comes with a condition. But for, because of, if then, all of that comes into play when it comes to love. Unconditional love can only exist, from my view, in the spiritual realm. That's it. So I don't know if that will be something you can meditate on. But the other thing I wanted to say is that I too am dealing with some rogue children, albeit I cannot compare with what you're dealing with, my brother. But what I want to say is I find it interesting that us humans um, demand demand attention, time, energy, as you were discussing, from others when we are unable to forgive ourselves.
Oh, I
And
have no issues with this. I know I'm not responsible for his actions. Um, and I also know that the endeavors that I've endeavored to in my life with metaphysics, the occult, religions, um, various other lines of study, there was not ever, nor is there, a demon from that particular time that I was prepping my son for, that it may be sacrificed or its life given to him in servitude. And secondly, is my son, the last time I seen him, and the last time my mother seen him, we had to call the police because he was so violently out of control. I've got a video of the girl, and I'm almost tempted to put it up so people can see the demeanor of my son, where him and his girlfriend took a 18-year-old, very vanilla young girl, bled her out for her college money and tuition, used her up one side and back down the other, and then discarded her. And I have the video to this because immediately when he came back in, I had to call the cops immediately afterwards. He had been holding this girl. And I'm not saying kidnapping, I'm just saying he was holding this girl. But even through that, and him being in the position he's in, I still try to remain a dad. I don't like what he does. I don't like his disposition. And I damn sure cannot condone nor consent to the murder of anybody. And that's regardless of whether my son did it or not. That man was executed 7 rounds. I mean, if you can imagine 7 9mm rounds to someone's head. And he's the dad of a cop in the town that you're hanging out with a bunch of uh, indignant uh, people that have no empathy, no compassion, uh, vile to the core. He was the one that chose that. He's 29 years old. He could have went to uh, anywhere here in Fort Wayne. He had friends. He could have stayed there. He could have went to a shelter because I had cut him out of my life because he had become so violent. And I was concerned for my safety when he come around. And I really didn't want to have to, get in trouble for having to do something critical to my own son for him, carrying a gun on his hip, like constitutional carry, and his motto, live by the gun, die by the gun. Okay, you know, you want to be a ghetto kingpin hustler, gangbanger, and still appear to be responsible enough with the tattoos and the markings that you have that indicate who and what you are, and the attitude that you're carrying with it. I can't be involved with it. And I had to dismiss him out of my life. Doesn't mean I didn't love him, and still doesn't mean I don't love him as a son, but I cannot condone being blamed for what he done, and nor can I even feel that I am nearly responsible for such a heinous act. And if he did it, he's got a few more days before they put him on trial, and it's not looking good for him. But every time that he's tried to express any type of love or any type of compassion, it's when he's needed money, when he's needed me to make a move out here for him, or to help him get something, or this time it was a necklace. And he goes from unconditional love and you're the greatest dad straight to I hope you go to hell. Now, that's his demons. That's his problem. That's on him. But to turn my mother around like that, and to hear her act like a juvenile minded, just indignant person, trying to blame me for a 29-year-old, he's 30 now, behavior in a situation that turned out to be murder one. Sorry, but I guess I'm going to have to discard you too, because I'm not going to allow you to project that energy on me. And now that I know where it's coming from, and now that I know it's being projected, I can take the necessary moves to completely remove them from my life. Have nothing to do with them ever again. Because that is one of the most heinous things that a person can throw at another person. If he done it, my mother is saying I'm the one that drove him to do it because of my lifestyle, or that he was possessed by one of my demons from earlier in my life whenever I used to do certain things. But I just wanted to make sure that this was brought out in the open the way that it is, because if I am responsible, there's enough opinions on YouTube that somebody should be able to at least say, yeah, you're responsible, or at least say that I contributed to it. But mind you, he was 40 miles away living with his friend and his friend's girlfriend, and the guy that got his head blowed off lived downstairs from him in the apartment. And not only that, but it was the girl, which was my son's best friend's girl that was living there with him, is the one that was getting ready to run errands with my son. And my son asked her, "Do I need my gun?" This is in the discovery. And he goes and gets his gun and gets back to the car and is in an immediate panic. And keeps telling her, "We got to get us out of here." This was her statement. "We got to get the fuck out of here." In which she exits the car and calls 911. And my son, at that point in time, takes off, ditches his gun, and hides his ass. And the irony and the synchronicity behind it is, what are the odds of that cop that apprehended my son being the son of the man that just got 7 rounds put in him? So please, if all these high-minded and powerfully observational people on YouTube can remotely attach me to a 29-year-old's actions that far away at 11 o'clock in the morning when I hadn't spoken to him for probably 2, 3 weeks. And that was whenever he had to leave here because he was entirely too violent. My mother couldn't let him stay there because he was entirely too violent.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, you're not going to hear me telling you you're responsible at all because first and foremost, I have been talking to you for some time now. And I recognize that your consciousness is at a different level, obviously, from where your son and your mother is. And I just want to say to you that you don't have to abide any of what they're saying. And I like the fact that you have withdrawn your energy because you can still love them and have your boundaries because you don't need no energy vampires from these people. You don't need that. I think
Well,
that anybody that would say, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I agree with you completely because that's what I've done. Is I love them for the fact that that's my mom and my son. But can
Mhm.
I any longer have anything to do with them? Not when they're in that state of mind, which means that they were in that state of mind for a long time, and they've
Yes.
had to have been talking some serious shit because my mom basically lynched my ass, condemning me for being the reason that he's sitting up there in jail, getting ready to go probably to prison for 80 years. They offered him 44 years, and he turned the plea down because he said it was life either way, and he decided to go in front of the judge, and his lawyer advised him not to, and his lawyer went as far as to say that he feels like maybe he should step down from the case. And my mother had to call and convince him to stay with the case because he doesn't have a defense for Josh. Josh being my son.
Yeah. I mean, everything that this boy has chosen to do has brought him to this moment, and he has to face it. And it's a difficult thing to face, and so he wants to deflect. And that's all that's happening is that right now you have been in the path of his deflections. Your mom is in the same boat. Surely by now all of us know that anything that we do has a reaction. I remember learning that in school in my early years. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So, of course, we affect our children, but we do not cause our children to make the choices that they make later on in life. If we're going to take credit for the good that they do, some say we need to take credit for the bad. But I don't believe that we should be taking credit for anybody else's choices. We should just be grateful that they have made good choices if they did. But in this particular case, all I want to say is that I don't think you're going to find anybody that's going to come on here and tell you that because of how you raised that child, it made him make this choice later on in this life. Let him come on here and do it. I don't think they can.
No, and I don't think that they will, or I don't think that anybody gives a shit enough to even attempt to, approach this situation. They might leave some comments in the comment section, if that, but they don't understand the weight of having to deflect and remove myself from that much energy being projected. That like to blew me the fuck away. And to have that in writing, that blows me away even more.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. But since I've experienced something similar, I it's unbelievable, but I know it's out there, and it's because the poisoning of the mind. This your son is not in control of his mind. Himself, his real self, is not even operating. It's checked out, and I wonder if he's an NPC. To be honest with you, your mother. I'm very sad that this is where she's at, but she's got to work these things out for herself. She may be dealing with guilt. And so she's also deflecting. She's looking for someone to blame because she cannot believe that a human being that's related to her by blood would choose something like this. I suppose she's thinking this way. But the
Well,
reality is
she's
that we have to accept it.
she's put the blame on me, and she said that the people he was with up there, they're to blame. Um, I mean, if there's a finger to point, she's pointing it because she does not believe for 1 minute that my son was capable of doing such a thing or did such a thing. When the evidence is so compiled that the lawyer even wanted to step down from it.
It's
And he
called
chose,
cognitive dissonance.
yeah, and he is um, so determined that he's going to be able to find the loophole or something that they fucked up on to be able to get him out of this. But they're not going to be looking at that. They're going to be looking at that day, at that point in time, and that crime, and the fact that he was the only one there, and he was the only one with a gun, and he's the only one that ran to a dumpster, ditched it, and went and hid. Now, to me, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out, especially after they did the fingerprinting and the ballistics. And if there's, I don't think there's a jury alive that will listen to the evidence against him and his argument that he's being treated unfairly and dismiss him on a murder one charge, because the judge plainly said he wants to hit him with 80 years, period, flat. You know, you go around putting bullets in the head of a cop's dad. Don't expect the cops in that town who have you in custody and you're being accused of it to show you any kindness. And my mom has done spent almost $75,000 on him.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, when my mom tonight said that I've done nothing for her and she's done everything, I contacted my lawyers. I'm the one that's been going through the paperwork. I'm the one that's been keeping up on the case and the evidence coming in and out. I'm the one that's kept in contact with my son. You know, I just won't play that fucking money game or manipulation. No, I know you don't have actual love for me. I understand that. And I'm just being a compassionate, empathetic dad, period. Because I don't condone you or the things that you do.
I think it's interesting how he showed his card straight away. It's a manipulation because he started off, like you said, with, oh, unconditional love. But as soon as his condition wasn't met, he struck. And he did not care that you were sick or that you wanted to do what you wanted to do. He wanted you to give up all of your life and your time and your focus and give it to him and focus on what he wants right now, which you know is the behavior of someone who is not well.
But
He's insane.
yeah, for my mom to think that he couldn't have committed such an atrocity, but yet she had to remove him from her property 3 times, and then finally she had to completely remove him from the property because of his violent behavior. And I'm like, how can you even remotely? And the amount of drugs that was in his system, he should have been unconscious. And he was up. He'd been up for 3 days on crystal meth, and he had opioids and marijuana and alcohol in his system. And I'm thinking, what kind of blinders do you have on that makes you think that this kid, and especially after the interrogation video, was even remotely rational enough to be around humans at all? And my thinking, it may be the best thing that he does get hit with these charges if he did that and he killed that man and they put a fucking menace to society completely away.
Indeed. I couldn't agree with you more. It from afar. I have some compassion because I recognize your mother is in she's in a diseased state, the cognitive dissonance, so she cannot see because she's poisoned in the mind. But at the same time, this whatever for whatever reason has to play out because this had to be known so that he could stop. This had to stop. And it's sad that someone's life had to be taken, but he had to be stopped. Because what else
Yeah.
could he have done?
Oh, if I was to disclose, I won't because it would be detrimental to his case because this is a public platform and what I say on here can be utilized against him. But if I was to disclose the nature of the beast, it would completely flat floor you that there was a human capable of these atrocities.
Yeah. I do think what's been missing in our society is us talking openly with one another. We get our information instead of getting it from one another. We don't trust one another. We want to get it from the talking heads. But the reality of what's really happening and the people who are really affected by our own behavior. Some people are even beyond your mother when it comes to defending their children and their behaviors. They're beyond that. I mean, it's I can't believe it's gotten this deep. It's been this deep. We've been this insane on this planet all this time.
No, I've removed myself from that situation and disassociated myself from all that energy. As a matter of fact, I've disassociated myself to the point where having a name is a residual personality recall. When somebody says my name, they immediately attach it to every associated interaction that we had. So instead of a possibility or a growth or new development, when they hear that name, immediately they resort to an image that they have built associated with that name. And they project that at you by calling you that name.
Yeah.
Which I'll go into further detail on after I get off of here and do the actual live stream I wanted to do today. But I didn't want to drag this energy into a live stream that I know, that people are going to listen to and take to heart. I want my energy to be as indifferent as it can be so that people can make their own decisions and choices.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it takes a
So,
lot shared, how deeply you've shared with us. I really appreciate that. And I mean, wow. Also, I just want to encourage you to talk about it. You can't carry that. You got to release that energy. I know you know what you're doing. So, yeah, you know you got friends.
Well, a lot of it too has to do with the new age that we're in the celestial movements of the heavens. Everything is being revealed. Um,
Yes.
Everything that was hidden, done in secret, even on a personal, individual level of those of us that aren't NPCs, are having to face anything that we may have kept hidden or thought we were sneaky enough. And no, all that shit's going to be brought to light until you've learned to forgive yourself and all parties involved, which is just completely understanding the situation and disassociating once you brought peace to that situation, which is
Yes.
bringing peace to yourself. So I started doing that a couple months ago, and really started pushing the edge of things, and all the way to the energy that's associated to a name. You know, if when you come on here and you say Don, I think of a spiritually minded, broad minded individual who speaks peacefully and has a peaceful demeanor. And that's the energy that I think of when I see you and I speak your name, as opposed to some others that, if they were to show up and I use their name, it's bringing forth antagonistic, um, intrusive, or just rude behavior. And that's what I'm going to expect whenever I see their name and I call them by their name, because I'm projecting that energy that I remember, the residual energy from my interactions with them. Now I'm
Yeah.
trying to completely disassociate that so that I
Yeah.
can actually truly, in the moment, get a feel for the person. Not what they were, not what they're about to become, but each time addressing them as a new, and everything not being projected with any type of energy, whether it be love, hate, judgment, um, malevolent intent, benign intent, none of that. Every time that I interact with a person should be like the first time that I ever interacted to them, unless I want to use that name and apply that energy of residual memories of my interactions with that person.
Yes.
And as far as me sharing, you know, I think it's those that don't share are either presenting themselves falsely or have a lot to hide, or they're just not emotionally strong enough to be able to speak to the whole world about your situation. You know, even when Kelly left, and you know that she was everything to me. You know, I voiced that. I had a lot of people thinking that was really fucking funny. You know,
Hmm.
oh, big bad Axis, and look at him crying over a girl. Well, hell yeah, yeah, because I was emotionally wounded and needed to come to terms with that. But for people to have taken that and used it as a smudge against me in character, well, to me, that shows that they're undeveloped as a human, and their empathy and their ability to have any type of relevancy to the other person's struggle or plight doesn't exist. And then you have to question, are they even human? By the
Mm-hmm.
definition of what we consider to be a good steward to the body, our environment, and all that is natural, including other people.
Yes.
So I don't mind hearing it. It actually, what it does is it allows me to visualize with a soundboard what I'm deflecting. It gives me insight as to the energies that I can't allow to influence me any further than me releasing it here.
Yes.
And with me releasing it here, I disassociate and become completely indifferent to it.
Yes.
But know that in your situation, John, you have all the love and light that I have to offer. That you find peace, healing, happiness, and that a resolve is brought to fruition that is beneficial to both parties.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. And I wish the same for you too, but actually I'm very impressed. I love your strength. Um, wow, it's an inspiration to me because it's, you know, sometimes you feel weakened. It's shocking to realize someone that you have invested so much love into can be like that. It's shocking and it feels weakening. But you chose a position of strength with this. You didn't allow it to weaken you. That's marvelous because whew, when it comes to a child, it can do you in. But you've seen a lot with this baby, with this child. And
Yeah.
I love your resolve.
Well, I'm not going to be delusional about the reality of the situation. You know, when I come on here and I speak, unless I'm just hacking it up, I'm speaking from a place that is definitely um, practical minded in the situation. You know, if I was on the jury and with what I know, I would have to say and put in a guilty plea.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the reality of it. And with my mom, she could be blamed for hell and high water as far as my, you know, complete disaster of a childhood until I took the reins and actually learned to get a skill and a talent and was able to live off that. You know,
Yes.
I don't hold her responsible for it, but if she's going to hold me responsible, then maybe she should look at herself a bit. Maybe that's the problem. She's so afraid to see her own guilt and shame that she's standing up for someone who, I couldn't do. And trying to somehow justify uh, her ill mannered decisions and approach to having somebody else raise your child till you adopt them off, you know, doesn't make me love her any less. Just makes me think that at one point in time she was making bad decisions. Maybe she could learn to make good ones and ones that are wholesome and beneficial. And that's the best that I can do for her.
Absolutely.
You know, they're going to, and I can already foresee the unsurmountable amount of energy that they're going to project towards me whenever I do not appear for the trial. And these are the last few days till his trial, and I don't plan on having any communications any further with him. But I know what comes with that, and I know the position they'll take. Even my daughter. So, I'm looking down the road too.
Yes.
But anyhow, what's that?
I was going to ask you, do you feel like, is there anything within you that feels like you may be willing to reconnect with your mother once the trial is over, or you feel like you have to completely walk away at this time and stay away?
No, I will. I will have to be completely ostracized because by me not showing up at the trial is just going to further their unfounded belief that I'm responsible for the situation he's in and what he is being charged for doing.
Mm,
So it's a lifetime decision. It's not a fly by night decision. That's why I wanted it here recorded. I wanted it to be, interpreted by people so that they understand. And then later on, I might, after his trial, share the results and the condition that I'm sure is coming. See how clairvoyant I am.
yes.
But anyhow, Don, I appreciate so much you allowing me to display that amount of emotion and energy, and I don't want that to be anything that comes at you, affects you, or builds a persona that I have any type of negativity when it's concerning you. Or all I'm doing is resolving a nasty turmoil so that at least I can step forward without a preoccupied mind.
Oh, not at all. If you understood how impressed I am and how I feel like you have been a little bit of a light, like it's like you showed me how to do it. Like this is how. It's wonderful. It's impressive. Actually, if you're ready to go, I was wondering if before you go, I can share a situation and maybe get your opinion.
Absolutely, Don. You know you can.
Thank you. It's work related.
That's
Um,
fine.
for some time, I have had some difficulties hiring someone to work with me in my office. Actually, to work, period. We're in a very strange environment. I recently in August fired the two girls that have been working remotely with me. One of the girls I trained from scratch for 2.5 years. She worked for me, and but I just found that she, the same issue over and over. She wasn't doing the work, but she was charging me for doing the work, and then charging me again once I discovered she didn't do the work, and charging me again for it. And we talked about it, and we talked about it. I'm a very patient person, but at the same time, I have a force behind me. I can be very, very firm, very direct. I make things happen, and my business had been growing for some time. At any rate, I'd gone through a number of different people who just did not work out to work with me in my office. They weren't qualified. They lied. I do background checks, and we always find it. And even if you pass through the background check, once you start working with me, it doesn't take long to realize that this is a faker. This person doesn't know what they're doing, or doesn't have the experience they claimed. At any rate, I decided to try an agency, like a headhunter.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, they sent an email to me some months ago. I think it was last year when I first placed an ad, and they, sent an email saying, "Hey, I saw your ad. Maybe we could help." So I decided to give them a shot. And it was not cheap, but I said, well, I'd worked for agencies, some really big agencies, as I was coming up in my career, and so I had a little bit of confidence in the way that they're structured. But at any rate, they sent me one resume that supposedly met my specifications. I scheduled the interview with the person, and I decided to go ahead and hire the girl. That was at the beginning of, or at the end of August, beginning of September. So she started on September 9th. Within the first week, I realized this person did not have the experience. I was a little shocked, because the resume didn't match what I was experiencing with this person. So I started asking her some questions. Come to find out, this damn agency was is taking people's resumes from Indeed without their permission, matching them up with employers that need positions filled, calling the person whose resume they stole from Indeed, calling them and telling them that, hey, we found somebody that is looking for work, that you're experiencing. And what we do is we connect people with the employer, and we have an interview for you. They don't tell the employee that they're making 15% of their salary, their annual salary, to connect them. They are not telling the employee that, number one. Number two, the agency falsified the resume. I never saw the original resume. I saw the resume that they redacted. Oh my God, heavily redacted. Literally made up a resume for this person. And so when I hired her, it was based on false information. So by the second week she was working for me, I confronted the agency and told them, this is what's going on. I'm going to have to fire this person. I'm not paying you a dime. You're criminals, and I'm going to report you. They begged me, we're a women owned business. Please don't talk bad about us. I said, but what about this woman owned business? You're trying to steal money from me by sending someone that's not qualified. You lied about their abilities, and you made up their resume, and furthermore you stole their resume and didn't even tell the person you were making money off of them. They stood to make $7,000 from this person being here. At any rate, the young girl and I talked it out, and we decided to try to work it out together, because she said that she did have the abilities. It was just going to take her time to transition from what she was doing to working with me. Now, let's fast forward to where we are today, because she started September 9th. She's just over a month in, and it's not good. I mean, this person has trouble following directions. I just spent last week correcting every single deposit entry she posted into one of my client accounts from the beginning since she was hired. So I had my private investigator that does the background checks do a wage verification. Come to find out, the resume that was on Indeed was also falsified by the girl. And the amount of wage she claims that she was paid while she worked there was not it, not even close. She lied about it. So that's my dilemma. I mean, she claimed today that she just made a mistake, and that a lot was happening. But the mistakes, we're talking about $4 or $5 mistake per hour. She claimed that she was making 26 an hour at one place, but she was only making 20. Another place she claimed 22 an hour, but she was only making 18. What would you do in this situation?
Well, first off, I would definitely file fraudulent charges against the temporary agency, and I would take it to. I think I would. You could start with small claims, with pending, but I would try for a actual judicial um, lawsuit. And as far as the girl goes, um, fraudulent, deceptive behavior is something that I won't deal with. Um, I remove it as quickly as possible, and I would definitely take into consideration that she actually got to serve as an apprentice under you for the curriculum that you are proficient in. So not only was she taking advantage of you financially, she was also taking advantage of you for being schooled in how to operate the particular business that you have. At which point in time, I would take her to court too. And just for tidying up, I would definitely build an altar for a reverse karma, a mirrored reflection of what they've done in their behavior. And whether you do 3 or 7, I would allow it to function in the way that the universe does, in accordance to the universe, and let them have to deal with their own behavior since they didn't want to correct it themselves.
Thank you for that.
I
Yeah.
think that you deserve compensation, not only for the financial situation, but the fraudulent and deceptive way in which the company presented itself, the actions of the company, and how their endeavor to get this employee to you, and the falsification that applied to the employee, and what the employee actually done in damages to your company. And not only that, but the fact that there was nothing ever mentioned about on job training.
Right.
So, from where I see it, you have the universal right to hold them under conviction for what they've done. And to me, that's a personal thing when they said we're a woman-owned business, and the other girl tried to justify her why. You know, reverse karma. I mean, whether you light a candle and place a mirror, or you black box it, whatever you choose, and just allow that energy to feed back on them so that it's no longer on you. Disassociate and do what's necessary.
Yes. Strength. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's just the way I would conduct myself. But I had to play cutthroat and a business that I shouldn't have had to, most of my life. But being in the entertainment industry, and I learned real quick, that everybody wants a piece of something, whether it be your ass, money, or a, a bit of fame and some fun. There's always going to be somebody there that will
Hmm.
take advantage.
If you
And
let,
when, go ahead.
I said, if you let, for sure, if you let them. And the thing is that this she, she wants to play me and try to get compassion from me. But the reality is that either way, if you couldn't remember and you're that, she told me at the 2 jobs she was last at, the one prior to the most recent one, she said she was there for 3 years, but she was only there a year and a half. I mean, if you can't remember how long you were at a job, and if you can't remember what you were being paid, then you should not be here. I have an accounting and tax business. We deal in accuracy,
I'd say so. I would
precision.
absolutely.
So I'm trying not to be. I tend to be very decisive as well. I tend to be very cut, but I'm trying to reason through why would I want to have somebody here that I can't trust? That you've taken my kindness, my generosity, and you didn't step forward when the deception came out about the agency. You didn't step forward and tell about your own deception. I
No,
just
and the fact that they try to defend their lie, that's one of the most heinous parts of it. Is someone who will try to defend their their lie and their no responsibility for their actions,
yeah.
and to continue and to proceed in such a manner is just, I cannot, I can't condone it. And the fact that you were victimized by it, to me says take action.
hmm Yep. I mean, I was thinking, do I have time for this? But what's in my pit of my stomach, I am just like, it's almost like I need to cut. You know what I mean? I need to cut. That's how I feel right now. And so, but coming from this strength position, it almost feels obvious that this is the only way that I can deal with this, because I can't trust this person. I can't trust that this person knows what she's doing. And also I can't trust that she's going to be honest, which I've been dealing with honesty issues all along. I had to sever it, and I severed it instantly in August, and I experienced an amazing relief. So I feel like I'll get through it. Of course, I could use a hand, but I'd rather not have these people around and be overworked than to have to deal with I can't do it anymore. No way.
Well,
So,
another word of possibility, um, once you've severed your ties, disassociate and
yes.
turn it into a benign kind of indifference, and allow your lawyers to work after you filed against them. Um, Definitely reinforce that with, you know, a, a candle, mirror, black box, whatever you choose to use, whatever your prescription is for, using that type of energy. And I would also disassociate myself with any residuals that come from that by taking the action. And the action that you take would also remove and disassociate you from that. And I think that the further you went with that, the more disassociated you would become with it.
Yes. Thank you.
Anytime, I can only give suggestions, and I can only give information, and just hope that it's useful, or maybe it leads you to an alternative situation, or you act upon it as according.
Yes. No, I found it very your guidance is very, very direct. I like that. Very clean cut and obvious. And so it allowed me to get that off my chest, because this all unwrapped for me. It just the universe, the synchronicity of this whole thing is unbelievable in the first place. But the way my investigator called me out of the blue yesterday about this thing, and then today to deliver this information, it was just like, wow, just blew my mind.
Well,
So, but yeah.
like I said, the luminaries and the alignments in houses are changing, and there is a drastic change in the way that the heavenly bodies are influencing us. And it doesn't surprise me that everything's coming to light for you about what the situation you're in, because that's the energy we're under right now. It's a great revealing.
Yes.
So I would definitely work with that energy and allow it to work with and for you for that endeavor. Because, if you have nothing to hide in the situation, then complete disclosure of that information is without residual effect.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, brother.
Anytime, Don, you can let me see if I can get to it here. Let's try something. Then
Okay.
see how this goes. Let's see. Nobody nobody's seems to be here. I'm gonna private message you something.
Okay.
I gotta find it. Um, let's see if this is it. Oh, yeah. Okay. Now we'll do a private thing here. And now let's see if you get this.
Okay. Got it. Yep. I got it.
Yep. Just write that down and know that anytime, 24/7, don't hesitate, and you don't have to wait for me to jump on and do a live. And if you're ever inspired that you want to go live, you can hit me up and maybe we can make some arrangements. And
Okay. Yes. That'll be great.
excellent, excellent.
Um,
Well, I'm going to shut this one down and get the other stream started after I smoke a cigarette, and I should be agile-minded enough to be indifferent and present information that is clean and clear.
yes. Yes. Very good. I'll be back to listen. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to talk to you again soon. Have a good night.
Absolutely, John. You have a great night, okay?
Alrighty. Thank you. Bye.